Good evening, troops. Another night, another river. We're doing a spot of night fishing for pike for a change, and turned up to the swim I was going to fish, and it's flooded. I mean, the whole river's up. I managed to find a spot where I can fish comfortably. It's going to be margin job tonight. Very murky, bombing through, but we're out. That's the main thing. Because it's the only gap I had. I had to work today up till 10 o'clock, and then tomorrow and the next day I promise to do a load of jobs around the house in the build up to Christmas. So it's a case of got a spare 12 hours from 11 o'clock tonight to 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. So yeah, we're after pike, single curved hooks as always, dead bait in. I'm going to start off with some float fishing. So I've already got my rod set up from the previous campaign, so I'll just get them out, and if I need to change over to a float ledger or something like that, or a plain ledger, I will. It's no big deal in the dark, is it? You know what I mean, changing rigs and stuff. So yep, we're out. It's not that bad, about 5 or 6 degrees. It's not cold. It's a bit of a breeze. Can't run through the swim with you. It's going to be one of those where hopefully we'll catch a few in the dark, and obviously look, I've got the filming up. If I hold the fish up, you should be able to see it. So he says. But yeah, so we're going to be fishing tonight, and for the first couple of hours of daylight tomorrow, up to about 11 AM, and then let's see what we can catch for you. Well, guys, that's all 3 rods out. Left hand rod, whole herring, size 4 curved hook. Middle rod, whole joey mackerel, size 4 curved hook. And the right hand rod just tucked in by a reed bed as a whole sardine. Again, single curved hook, size 4, micro barbed. Can't go out too far. Even if I was leisuring, I wouldn't be able to go out too far. It's bombing through. I mean, really bombing through. It's flooded conditions, so my normal tactics on a flooded river is fish close in, try and find some slack water where maybe a pike's holed up. So that's the action plan. All the rods are out. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning, I think. So it's an hour and 20-minute drive from your work to home, and then another 5-10 minutes past my house to the river. So it took me about an hour and a half to get here, so it ain't too bad. I mean, I got here about 11:30, 11:45. The original swim was flooded. I mean, technically I could have fished it. I had a feel around with a pole, but there was a lot of flood water there, and in the dark at night, it'd have been just quite easy to fall, step into no man's land and end up to your chest in water. So I come along, I knew where there's a bit of bank that was high, so that's what I've got, is a bit of high bank. So I'm fishing there, I'm only fishing about 3 or 4, 6 foot out at the most, and it's bombing through and then it's holding bottom. And you might be thinking, well, why is he fishing with floats? Well, as I say, I already had them set up. So what I've done is, like the old-fashioned strap pegging, I've put the stop knot right up, 3 or 4 foot over depth. So what's happening is the weight's holding the bottom. Where normally, if it was tight, you'd get a big bow in your line, it would drag everything down. So I've raised the stop knot, so the power of the water, put a bow in the line, but the float is still visible. Now from the float to the rod tip, the line is quite tight, and I'm fishing on my alarms and my bait runners really. And then yeah, so we're all set, fair to go. I'm gonna have a nice warm cup of coffee. Well, not warm, it'd be hot. A nice cup of coffee, get settled in, and hopefully, before too long, I'll be holding up a pike for you. Let's get it. Let's jump into this. Let's do this. Well, it's a lot earlier than I thought, troops. It's not even 12:30 yet. And eventful already. I've had the police stop by. And all they wanted to know was if I'd caught anything. So, you know, it's nice to know they're up and down the banks in the middle of the night. But, yeah, so it's a little bit earlier. I say it's a little bit earlier than I thought. It's lovely and mild. Lovely night. Clouds just behind me slightly. Plenty of stars on view. River's looking... At night it looks great, but it's well high. Mud brown. But we've got rods in the water, so let's hope we catch something, eh? Well, good morning, troops. It is morning here. We've been fishing about 2-3 hours. Well, I know, I mean, yeah, 3 hours, but nothing yet to pique the interest. So I had a little bit of interest on the middle rod, I think, but I've probably put that down to debris rather than anything else. Got me a bit excited, but I think it was debris. So when I brought it in, there was plenty of washing on the line, you know, all the way down, like green weed. So that must be pumping through, but it's a very mild night. It's no hardship. It's being out here. I mean, it's quite pleasant. I'm quite enjoying it, but fish wouldn't go amiss. But I'm in this. I'm going to have to inject the baits with some oil maybe and try to attract something in, because it's very murky water and it's bombing through. And so I'm fishing the margin, so I'm waiting for something to come along patrolling really, but still hopeful. So we're, I say, a couple of hours in. It's plenty of swans around. I can hear them. I can't see them, but I can hear them. It's pretty mild. I think it's about 7-8 degrees, so it's, you know, it's quite pleasant sitting under the brolly. No fish yet. Hopefully a bit of action to come. Well, good morning, troops. It's 6 AM. You know, I've not had a touch all night, really. Well, I haven't had a touch all night. It's been what movement has been from debris coming down the river. It's I mean, when I arrived, I mean, I should have just turned around and gone home, but the only spare 12 hours I had for at least 8 to 10 days. I ain't gonna, you know, I'm booked up with work solid. So I drove over the river on the way to work yesterday lunchtime. It didn't look that bad, so I was hoping it was alright up here, but when I arrived it was obvious how flooded it was. You know what I mean? The swim I wanted to fish was underwater. So I really should have just turned around and gone back, but you don't get that many opportunities to go fishing. Well, I don't anyway, so I know it might seem like it, I do a lot of videos, but I'm not on the bank that often, so it's, you know, I've got to make the most of my opportunities when I've got the time. So it's a case of biting a bullet and saying sod it, let's see if we can catch something. But we haven't yet, but it's still early. I mean, it's going to be light in another hour. Hopefully in that hour we can you know, the next hour I was hoping to catch something at night, you know, a bit of night pike fishing, but wasn't to be. So well, I mean, still might. I mean, you can see behind me it's pitch black still, so sunrise is not for another hour and a half, and it's about 7:30 these days. I don't know, 7:30, 8 o'clock even, I don't know. So it's a case of I've just boosted the baits, so I've got them all. I've heightened my stop knots a bit so I can gone out a bit further. I've boosted the baits, you know, so I'm trying loads of different things, but at the moment no joy. But it's I'm going to stick it out to about 10-11 o'clock and then should make my way home. So hopefully we'll catch something in darkness. Yeah, I mean, a night pike fishing video, we'll catch them all during daylight. Hopefully we'll catch them all during daylight. So we're going to stick at it. It's, you know, I mean, it's been a pleasurable night. I mean, it's quite mild. It's you know, I mean, there's not much to do. You know, I mean, it's all right. So it's just a nice pike, 35 pound. We'll just put the icing on the cake, won't it? Well, even £5 will do, but you know what I mean. It's can always dream. So we're gonna have a little spot. I've had a spot of breakfast already. I'm gonna have another cup of coffee now. So I've boosted the baits and just waiting for a bit of action. Well, morning troops. It's yeah, it's nice. I mean, the day is well into daylight now. First hour of daylight and still not a touch. Left hand rod, I've put a fresh herring on, cut that in half. Oh, it's got plenty of juices coming out. Pumped it full of oil, so plenty of attractants in the water, but nothing as of yet. Middle rod still Joey mackerel. And the right hand rod is still a herring. I mean, sorry, a sardine. You know, the hooks are coming back clean. There's a bit of washing on the line sometimes, but nothing major. But you can see more than 2-3 rod lengths out. You can see all the debris bombing through. So you know, you just can't go out too far. But I would have thought they would have been hugging the margins. I'm saying the water's really chocolate, brown, it's bombing through. You'd think they'd be closer in with the slack water. That's where the prey fish are going to be. Oh, here we go. Weed. Got all excited, but it's only weed, so I'll have to reel that in and recast it. It's dragging the float down. So. Well, here's the swimming daylight troops, almost daylight. Not a single run during the night. There's a right hand rod there. That's a whole sardine. That's down the right hand track. There's a middle rod, 2 rod lengths out at the most. Holding bottom fine, it's just that going any further there's a lot of debris. And there's the left hand rod. Yeah, you can see the old swim underwater. It's not too bad here. Further upstream where I wanted to fish, it was completely underwater. It was too dangerous at night. We're here now. Well guys, whew, all packed up. Wasn't the best of sessions for viewing wise, I'm afraid. Sorry about that. We can't all pick and choose when we go fishing, can we? You know, we're not full-time fishermen, professionals. We got to get a fine balance between our work life, our fishing life, and our family life. And if I had plenty of options and plenty of days off, I wouldn't have even contemplated fishing this river in this condition. But I had no choice, so you know, it was one of those, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. And I went for it and it didn't pay off. Sometimes they pay off, sometimes they don't. You know, it's a fine balance sometimes, isn't it? But you know, I was thinking about it, and I thought, will I have a moan? Will I bemoan my luck or the condition? And the truth is, no. You know, I know it's going to sound silly because I do a YouTube channel about fishing, but I don't go fishing just to catch fish for pounds and ounces. I go fishing because I love it. I love being out on the bank. I love being out in nature. You know, I love the fresh air. You know, everything about it I love. And the fish, they're the cherry on top of the cake for me. Obviously, I'd like to catch plenty, and I have over the years. But sometimes, with all the will in the world, all the forward planning, all the hopes, all the dreams, sometimes they just don't pan out. And sadly, last night was one of those. You know, I've had a 12-hour session that I wouldn't have got if I'd gone home last night and gone to bed. You know, I just got too much things to do. So I'm pleased I came. Not pleased with the result. If you sat through it all and you think, blinking hell, another blank, Mark. Well, I know that's real life fishing, I'm afraid, troops. So, yeah, thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. And we'll see you on the bank real soon. Tight lines, everyone.